For some of you, it may look like a circus on here.
Today we are flying a smuggled plane from Belarus, which evaded all international sanctions and is now operating dodgy flights to Benghazi in Libya. How did this former Emirates plane with Qatar Airways seats ended up in one of the most sanctioned countries in the world? Well, I booked myself a ticket to go to Minsk to answer this very question for you. So please join me on another aviation adventure.
We have the boarding pass?
Yeah.
If you're new to the channel, my name is Josh Cahill, a multi-award winning aviation YouTuber with over 500 million views, and I love to hold airlines accountable for the promises they make. My favorite hobby? Featuring unique airlines from all over the world. I organized Afghanistan's first all-female flight, and I'm also proudly banned from Qatar Airways. Welcome to Istanbul, the spy capital of the world, the place where West meets East, and where international sanctions don't exist. In fact, it is the main hub where all the sanctioned and banned airlines of the world come together.
But before we check in for this very exciting flight, let me share you the full story how Belavia managed, despite all the heavy international sanctions, to smuggle this former Emirates plane into Belarus.
Due to heavy international sanctions, Belarus is not allowed to import or buy planes, including spare parts. They are also banned from European airspace. In short, they can't add any planes to their fleet the official way. However, smuggling spare parts or planes to countries such as Russia, Iran or Belarus has become a big money business. One person who mastered this trade is Tarek Abdelhamid Al-Jamani, a Jordanian businessman who runs a fake airline in a tiny African nation of the Gambia called Magic Air, which of course has never taken a single flight. Tarek, who operates as a middleman, acquired 3 Airbus A330s from Honor Air, which ceased operation in 2021. Adding to the disguise, the official paperwork claimed the planes were sold to a buyer in Dubai. This paperwork helped to make this deal look legit to the outside observers. The 3 Airbuses, which were stored in Muscat, Istanbul and Cairo, ready to be transferred to the Gambia, took off in August 2024. But instead of flying west to Africa, they made its way north to Belarus. Over the Caspian Sea, transponders were switched off and the planes continued to Minsk, where they eventually landed. The airline initially complained about the poor conditions of the plane, and it took almost a year to get them ready for service again. Yes, this is the fascinating story of Belavia's Airbus A330, so I can't wait to get on board this plane.
So, talk with this. If you make... It was here.
After helping this lovely babushka, it was time to check in for my flight to Belarus, and luckily, using my German passport, I don't need a visa to travel to the country.
Okay, it is fine. Okay, perfect.
The passport, left side there is SCYK, second floor.
Okay, I know. All right, thank
But
you.
how can you book a flight on Belavia given the sanctions against the country? Well, I tried their official website, but unfortunately it didn't work. So once again, I had to visit the Dubai-based travel portal City.travel, which still lets you book flights on all the dodgy airlines around the world, not giving a damn about international sanctions at all. It cost me 1,000 euros for one-way ticket in business class.
So here we are, all checked in for the Belavia business class experience, and on the way back we're going to review their economy class product. Now let's head to the gate because the plane is just about to touch down.
And there she was, the star of the day, Belavia smuggled Airbus A330-200, which was originally delivered to Emirates in 2003, where it was happily flying for 12 years. In 2015, it was stored before flying for Onur Air in Turkey for a couple of years. Now it's proudly flying for Belavia, the only airline in Belarus.
And this plane is the very reason why I love my job so much. So it's time to get on board. I'm not sure whether we're going to have the old Emirates cabin or whether they have refurbished the plane. That is something we're going to find out in a few minutes. Thank you. Hi, how are you? 1A? Yeah, alright, thank you.
And yes, a lot of you might be thinking that this seat and those colors look very familiar. And I know, I have seen it too.
So guys, and here we are. Welcome on board Belavia's Airbus A330 business class. And this seat looks very familiar. Do you want to guess which airline used to have those seats installed on their planes? It's Qatar Airways, because they had exactly the same seat on their Airbus 330s, and somehow they made their way into this plane. So they removed the old Emirates seats and installed this one in here. It looks very dated, but you can clearly tell from the color, from the purple, from everything. So you still have any doubt that this seat used to be inside a Qatar Airways plane? Well, then the seat buckle gives us the answer. And we do have the whole smash here: slippers, amenity kit, blanket, pillow. We're gonna check it all out because we have 5.5 hours until we get to Minsk. Usually in an unsanctioned world it would be a 2.5 hour flight, just straight up over the Black Sea into Minsk. But because Belavia is not allowed to use European airspace, we have to go around the Black Sea, along the Ukrainian border, and then into Belarus and Minsk, which adds another 3 hours. Yeah, and surprisingly, crew is, not really outgoing, but they have no issues with me filming, which is really good. But yeah, I was expecting it to be a little harder, that they might not like the camera, but all good so far.
We then pushed back, the ground crew waved goodbye, and the cabin crew handed out menus. While it was only 4 passengers in business class, the back of the plane was fully booked.
So we're just pushing back, but I can't get my head around it how this Qatar Airways business class cabin ended up on a sanctioned Belavia ex-Emirates plane. If you have any ideas, please enlighten me in the comment section below.
I receive a lot of questions about the gear I use to film my videos, so I've put together a full list of all the items. The link is in the description box below.
So this is quite interesting actually, because the built-in in-flight entertainment isn't working. However, instead they give out iPads. It's not iPads, it's some Android system, but yeah, at least they keep you entertained.
Alternatively, you can read and browse through the local propaganda magazine that was available in the seat pocket behind of you. Definitely a very interesting and unbiased read.
Beautiful, thank you. So, well, a good half an hour into the flight, I have a hot meal in front of me. Yeah, well, in terms of presentation, there's still some room for improvement. However, there is fish or beef on the menu. As a starter, there is some cheese, some brie, some walnuts, got a couple of buns there, some olives, pickles. Yeah, the whole smash. So yeah, let's see. It's a very interesting product. It's very unique, to say the least. I don't think you ever get to fly a sanctioned ex-Emirates plane with a Qatar Airways cabin and Belavia branding in your life. That is one of the moments where I'm greatly reminded how lucky I am and how much I love my job. But now let's dig in and let's see what it tastes like. So now let's try the fish. The halibut. You know what? It's actually pretty good. I like it very much. Very lovely. Well, I gotta be honest with you guys. I mean, for some of you it may look like a circus on here, right? It's all a bit of patchwork put together with what they have and what they found, and it's definitely unique. It's spectacular. It is something else. But to be honest, it seems like they put a lot of energy and thoughts into this, where they think, hey, the screens are not working, let's get some iPads, even though it only has 5 movies, but it's something, you know. They put together a amenity kit. The crew is, I mean, they're treating everyone here really nicely. They try to deliver a proper business class experience, and for that, I give them a lot of credit. Very wholesome, to be honest, you know. And I think this is what I enjoy the most here about this flight. And the fish is sensational, really good food. Can I get some coffee?
Would you like coffee with milk?
A lot of milk. Okay, thank you. Do you need help? There you go. That's very nice of you. Thank you. So, just been served a coffee, and if you are interested to know how I find those very unique flights, and if you want to have a little bit of a behind the scenes, I strongly recommend you to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description box below. That's where I share everything in terms of research, how I find those, how I book those flights, and you will also have access to my WhatsApp group. You get your Cahill keyring, you will have early access to my videos, and especially in my WhatsApp group I share all the behind the scenes. I chat with you guys. We have a really cool community, so if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. But now let's have a look inside this very unique Belavia amenity kit. I'm sure there aren't many around, and I was given 2 of them, so one of them I'm gonna give away. So all you have to do is just go down in the description and sign up for my newsletter, and then perhaps you're the lucky winner of a Belavia amenity kit, which not many people happen to have. So, and apparently those seats can go flat, but half of the stuff that I tried here is broken. But let's see if this works. It does. They're still functioning. I mean, actually, how nice is it that you fly on Belavia and you have an actual flat bed? Not angled, flat. Well, this is how far it goes. But yeah, I've traveled on those seats twice. Once on Qatar Airways 320 and once on the 330. And then here you have a bit of a divider. Here the reading light is functioning as well. And yeah, I know a couple of airlines that aren't sanctioned that can't match the quality of this seat. So yeah, this is actually really nice. Not bad, not bad. But I still really wonder how this seat ended up on here, and what happened to those old Emirates seats as well. So many questions, but I'm sure some of you guys are able to answer those. So apparently 2 more 330s are joining Belavia. If that plane doesn't fly to Istanbul, what it does most of the time, it flies from Minsk to Benghazi in Libya. 3 years ago, Iraqi Airways and Baghdad Air, they used to fly daily from Baghdad to Minsk on a 747. So they filled up those planes with illegal migrants, because who flies between Baghdad and Minsk? There's no demand. So they filled up those planes with illegal migrants. Once they got to Minsk, they were sent to the Polish border where they tried to claim asylum. However, Poland had none of that, and they fortified their border, sent a lot of troops there, and they didn't let anyone in. It made quite some headlines all around the world, and apparently that effort was funded or sponsored by Russia. I don't know, that's what they say, just in order to create chaos, to destabilize the country. And Poland is very busy to maintain their sovereignty, to do not grant asylum to people that aren't culturally aligned with their lifestyle. And so apparently it's still going on. So that also means that they keep the Polish army busy. They keep the troops at the border, which means they have less time to train them, etc., etc. A lot of politics. So that's apparently why they have those flights from Benghazi to Minsk, which makes no sense.
And indeed, Belavia is still busy operating flights between Minsk and Benghazi and back. However, if you go to Belavia's website, the Libyan city doesn't show up in their booking system, which indicates once more that the purpose of these flights is surely not for tourism purposes.
So we're going to touch down in like 20 minutes, and then got to go through immigration. Everybody who followed my Russia tour 2 years ago knows that it can be a little bit tricky. I was interrogated for a good 3 hours, so I hope here it's going to be a lot easier. And then 2 nights in Minsk, where I'm going to take you around a little bit. Perhaps we're going to meet some other plane spotters, and then we take the same plane back to Istanbul. So stay tuned. Let's see what Minsk is like during the war, the sanctions, and from what I remember visiting here like 5 years ago, I actually really liked it. Really nice city. Here we are. Welcome to Belarus. Thank you, bye.
Bye. Good evening.
We were assigned a remote gate, and I was quite hopeful that immigration would just be a formality. However, things turned out to be a little different, and I wasn't quite welcomed with open arms in Belarus.
So guys, and here we are. Welcome to Minsk, one of the 14 hero cities of the former Soviet Union. And yesterday I got a very interesting welcome. So when I went to the passport control, they asked me the normal questions, but they were a lot nicer than they were in Moscow when I had the same issues. And then they took me to a separate area. So from my flight, they picked like 10-15 people. So you had to sit there in a waiting area, and then it was my turn. I had to go to a room where there was a supervisor, and as soon as I walked in, he was very funny, very hilarious. He said like, "Oh, Josh, I saw your YouTube channel." And then he asked me, "What are you doing here? Are you doing a video on Belavia?" And I had everything prepared, all sorts of stories where I just said, no, I'm just a tourist. I just come here. I want to see the Aviation Museum. And he said, "You did a video, right?" I said, yeah, I did a video on Belavia's new 330. and then he said, how was it, etc. He was being really nice, asked me how much cash I have, and didn't really go into details. And he said, it's all good, give us 5 to 10 minutes and then you get your passport and you're good to go. And but then it took like half an hour, and I was like, maybe it's a little suspicious. They know what I do. They might think I'm a journalist, and in times like this, they might not want to have me around. But then I got my passport back, entered the country, and went straight to the hotel, and it was all good. So yeah, kind of made it. But everyone was really friendly throughout the process. So yeah. Appreciated that, for being treated nicely. Now I'm gonna head into the city center. I'm gonna show you around a little bit and show you what it's like in Minsk in 2025. So just went inside a mall. One thing you notice is that all Western brands are still here in Belarus. They aren't as heavily sanctioned as Russia. And yesterday in my hotel, when I checked in, I was able to pay with my Australian MasterCard. So because I also read mixed reports that some cards sometimes don't work here, but mine was working totally fine. But yeah, when I was in Russia, there's like no way that you can use with your card, and you have to bring a lot of cash with you, which is really, really annoying. Gonna be in the video. There you are. So this is actually my second time to Belarus. First time I came here was 2020. And my impression of Belarus and the people here, they are actually really, in their mindset and their way of thinking, very westernized. So it more feels like you're in Budapest or Prague than being somewhere in a Russian city, especially when you talk to the younger generation. And this is what it feels like here. And one thing you noticed here as well is when you talk about politics with people, that everyone, literally everyone will tell you that Lukashenko is an absolute nutcase, that they're absolutely embarrassed of him and nobody voted for him and he shouldn't be in power. While when you're in Russia, for example, you talk to young people, educated ones, or just a general person, you will always find the one Putin supporter that says, yeah, he puts Russia first, he's acting in our interest, we are behind him and such. Here in Belarus, like every time you bring up Lukashenko, everyone's like, he's crazy, like nobody votes for him, nobody wants him, like he's such a clown. Yeah, just quite interesting to observe it. And now let's go inside the supermarket actually, and let's see what like items you get here, what the prices are like, because I know you guys are always very interested in that. All right, let's check it out. So 4 Belarusian rubles are €1. This is what this can of olives costs you. So if you want to have a proper steak here, I reckon, what is this, 300 grams, it will be 63 rubles. So when I look at it, a can of tuna is like 11 rubles, which is 250. I don't know whether this is a lot, but I think it kind of is, even in the West. But then you look at some other items and they do look quite expensive. A bottle of Corona is exactly €1. I'm not sure how much you would pay, but I think a bottle of Corona is a lot more expensive in Europe. How much does a bottle of Corona cost in your country? Let me know in the comment section below. And that's the worst. You come all the way to Minsk to have a Bayern Munich Paulaner Weiss beer. Well, let me see, what's the cheapest beer I can find here? Oh, here. Of course, original Weiss beer made in Germany. 3 rubles for that kind of stuff. That is very cheap. But yeah, to be honest, you find all the Western products here without an exception. So I'm trying to get some milk chocolate, and I'm going to demonstrate you how my MasterCard is working in this country.
Положите товар на платформу 3. Заберите. Спасибо за покупку.
I was easily able to purchase a chocolate bar with my international MasterCard debit from Australia, Combank, to be more precise.
However, a week later I had unauthorized transactions on my card and had to block it and get a new one. So don't use your card in Belarus. However, it was then time to head back to the airport for my early morning flight to Istanbul.
Hi, how are you? To Istanbul? Can I get a window seat in the back of the plane?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it full today?
Yes.
Yes, of course. All right, beautiful. Thank you. So, all checked in for the Belavia 330 experience. This time in economy. Took literally 15 seconds, but apparently the flight is full, even though it doesn't look like it. But now let's clear immigration. Let's see what obstacles I face this time, and hopefully make it out of Belarus. Not that I want to leave. I love this country. Great, beautiful people, but immigration here is always a little tricky.
And luckily all went super smooth at immigration and I was allowed to leave the country. Once at the gate, the Airbus was ready to take me back to Turkey, and I was excited to explore the economy class as well.
All right, let's go back to Istanbul. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
35.
35A.
This way, right?
Place,
All right,
yeah.
thank you. So guys, and here we are. Welcome on board Belavia's economy class here on the 330, while their business class was clearly Qatar Airways. This seat doesn't look very familiar to me. I don't think it is an ex-Qatar economy class cabin, but maybe German wings, former German wings, because of the purple color. Also, you would think the seat belts would give it away, but there's unfortunately nothing on there. And I think there used to be entertainment screens here, which are also gone, so they covered this. But if you have any idea or you recognize those seats, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to know. So spent the last couple of minutes searching for any clues. Couldn't find anything though. It's definitely not Emirates, that's for sure. I doubt it is Qatar Airways, so my money would be on Eurowings, or like Eurowings Discover it's now called, or formerly known as German Wings, because they used to fly 330s as well, or still do. So, and then the color scheme matches as well. But that's what I kind of like about these airlines. It's just like so much patchwork here, like a plane. You get the frame, you get the seats, and they put everything together and make it work.
We left Minsk on time and the plane was fully booked. Istanbul is Belarus's gateway to the world, as flying out of Minsk is limited to just a handful of destinations. The crew was very friendly and a hot meal was served. It was super dry and definitely not award-winning, but it was still better than nothing. I slept for most of the 5-hour flight and woke up just in time for our touchdown in Istanbul.
Well guys, here we are back in Istanbul. This was my short but sweet Belarus adventure flying on this very interesting plane. I hope you liked the video. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the whole Belavia story. Hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on next week's adventure, and check out my Patreon for many extra perks. This is it for me now. I'm signing off, and wherever you're off to, have a safe trip.